we have a guest speaker who drove all the way to Ocala to do this radio interview. And the people who should be listening, and I think that's everybody, but if you are a CEO, entrepreneur, world changer, speaker, you're leading the pack somewhere, you could be 30 years old, you could be 50 years old, and you're in a rut and you're looking to move forward. You're going to enjoy the next 15 minutes. And let me introduce Matt Walker, who drove all the way from John Maxwell's headquarters in Florida.
That's right. Thanks, Reese. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, entrepreneur, visionary, and part of the leadership team over there at John Maxwell. I've learned a lot about you. And I would like to kind of introduce you in a form where I would love you to tell us your story, because you have come through some serious adversity. You had hopes and dreams like we all did, and you just stayed truthful and you followed your journey and you wore your God goggles and you're here today. And this is a very cool story. And can you tell us about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Reese. So I grew up with wonderful parents and always had a big dream to do big things. The old question of what do you want to be when you grow up? And that's a hard question to answer when you think sky's the limit. So I decided to be an athlete one day. And went on to play football and actually got to go play professional football in Canada as a Canadian football player up there. And then, as happens oftentimes, is that your career comes short due to injury. And, once that happened, I think for me, it was just that realization of what now? Do I just go back to college and finish some things, or, what do I do now? And I just felt like there was something bigger in life. And somebody put in my hands The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And I read that book and it just hit my heart in a very special way. It hit my mind that, you can grow physically, football and being a pro athlete have a lot to do with your mentality, but just seeing it as a possible career to make a difference for the whole world. In that, as John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. Mm-hmm. So having the opportunity to go through that book and look into personal growth, and that really just lit my heart on fire and started our journey as being entrepreneurs. But as we continue to go along, I mean, there's adversity that all of us face. And oftentimes you feel like you're pushing an 800-pound boulder uphill. You can't see on the other side of it. The boulder's too big. But you just know you're pushing it. And when you first start, you're excited about it. But over time, you go through challenges.
It gets heavier.
it gets heavier because you start to maybe lose perspective. And, you get the well wishes from people around you that say good for you, but they don't understand what it's like to push a boulder like that. And so just getting around the Maxwell Leadership Organization and having an opportunity to grow with them and, get perspective of other people that are pushing that boulder has really been a incredible change. So very, very exciting to be around the Maxwell Leadership Organization. I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, well, we're honored you're here. We love John Maxwell. We have a bunch of John Maxwell leaders here in North and Central Florida, but across the country, because people are listening across the country, and you're going to hit hearts today one way or another. I always say one person at a time. And you made a comment, and as I'm actually, just so you all full disclosure know, I'm part of the leadership program, mentor leadership program, the high capacity leadership program. And so I'm really excited about it and taking this deep dive because, being an entrepreneur, Zinnia Wealth Management, I also own the Grilled Cheese Foundation. There's things that I have to continue to learn as a leader to inspire and add value to people. And because I think that's a lost art, actually. And people are striving to do so. And I want to continue to do that and add that value. The show is about financial planning and retiring and how do we do that. And I loved our conversation because you made a fun comment about emotion and money. I'm like, oh, this is great. Let's talk more about it.
That's right. Yeah, because in our belief, finances they're an outcome. They're not a root cause. And so leadership has everything to do with influence. As John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And the hardest person in the world to lead is yourself. And ultimately, when you're developing your financial IQ and your financial practices, financials are so much emotional. And that's why you have to tackle the emotions through your own leadership. But then money is multiplied through your ability to add value to the marketplace and add value to people. So if you're struggling with, I want to have more money, it's possible that a lot of that could do with leadership limits that you're currently facing and developing your leadership in how to add value to others and build your tribe. As I love what you say, build your wolf pack.
Yes, I do have a saying.
and be able to do that. I believe the more people you touch, the more finances you make. So leadership, I believe, is, and as does John, directly impacts how your finances will look.
Yeah. So he brought up wolf pack. I'm always looking for my wolf pack. And anybody out there, who wants to implore and be challenged to, join this high capacity mentorship, I'm going to be part of it. I just heard Tim Tebow is going to be part of it. So many other things out there. John Maxwell is going to get a little intimate and be part of it, of course. Finances can be very emotional. Markets are going up and down, elections, interest rate changes, all the noise out there. And that's our job here, to keep everyone's emotions grounded so we don't make bad decisions. So I love what John Maxwell has to say about finance and staying the course and really understanding your plan. When we're done with this interview, we're going to talk about finances and how it kind of follows this conversation. But, we're looking for world changers. Now, we talked about something I truly, dear to my heart, believe in, is I feel like John Maxwell's strategy and how he coaches, and he does it in such an amazing manner. It is a lost art, and we don't see as much of it. And you told me a story about he's getting older and he wants now to do deep dives and coach people faster, harder, because you can't live forever, right? So
well, he might. He might. He might, Sharice, yeah.
God wants him here longer than he thinks, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
So can you delve into that, like the whole behind the scenes on that?
Sure. So one of my great friends and one of the leaders in the Maxwell organization, his name is Chad Johnson. He's actually going to be the host of High Capacity Leadership, which is our year-long mentorship program. And him and John were having a heart-to-heart discussion about the fact that, well, John is 77, and these next 3 years, the primary goal that John wants to focus on is up-and-coming leaders that are, like you said at the beginning, just need that extra bit of edge, that extra inspiration, but most importantly, the depth of wisdom. And I think that's one of the lost arts, like you say, is having somebody that is wise look at John Maxwell as an example, pouring into that up and coming leader. And you could be 50, you could be 60, you could be 70 and still have wisdom poured into you. And so John's focus primarily is to give his time, the most valuable resource we have as people. It's not money, it's time. Mm-hmm. John's giving his time to you at High Capacity Leadership. He's giving that time to ask him any questions that you may have and for him to speak into the wisdom and the experiences that he's had on how to deal with relationships, how to deal with the challenges that you're facing as a leader, how to inspire you and keep you alive and well, because I know there's something called burnout that a lot of leaders face because there's tides of things. When you're pouring out all the time, if you're not being poured into as a leader, you're redlining. And so this is an opportunity to be poured into as that leader.
I love that. I think all those words are incredibly valuable. And I know some people who are listening are saying, oh, that's me, and the importance of it. There's a quote out there I love from Benjamin Franklin that says, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And it comes with habits, and it comes with your wolf pack and just creating these new habits. And so my new habit is going outside my box and getting around my community and rubbing shoulders with people that have been here and done that, right? And every day I listen to podcasts, and just like you do, we were talking about it this morning. I did my 4 a.m. club thing, and I'm like, you wake, time to wake up. Got your coffee. I already prayed. I did my pause app. I meditated, and I got my workout in. And then like 2 hours later, he's like, I already got mine in too.
It was encouraging, by the way, to get that text. I was like, I got to be on my game because I know Sharice is in town. So
yes. The goal here is to tell people, inspire others, lead others. It doesn't matter what department you're in and what you're doing. You could be a chief operation officers, our director of operation. You could be leading the wolf pack at, the fire station or the police station.
That's right.
Duke Electric. It doesn't matter. But if you are that person that likes to take initiative and rise above, and you're just needing a little bit more help, a little bit of push, this is incredible. And I'm excited to be part of it. And can you tell people before we go to a close here, how did you get into this John Maxwell relationship and being one of the leaders there? And because you talked about Chad Johnson, and you got to tell the story. I thought it was incredible because what a coinky dink, you just
That's
landed
true.
there.
Yeah, I like what you did there, by the way. That was great. Yeah, so after reading that book, I did become an entrepreneur and get a chance to get around as many seminars as I could. I kind of chased after John Maxwell and podcasts and books and everything else. And so over the years, I got to meet a lot of the leadership, Mark Cole, a lot of the incredible leaders that are behind the scenes. And there really is, Sharice. The Maxwell leadership has done such a great job of finding and empowering great leaders throughout the entire company from top to bottom. And so I also really value getting out of my home and bumping shoulders. It's a very, very important pastime of mine is networking and meeting people. And so I went out to Black Dog Cigar in Stuart, Florida. And there's a gentleman there. Him and I were having a great conversation. And I said, so Chris, and his name was Chris Robinson. I said, so Chris, I love leadership. Have you ever heard of John Maxwell or read any books? And so they start laughing, and not Chris. He was really kind, but the owners of the place were saying, well, do you know who you're talking to? And I was just like, what am I missing here, guys? Because it's very obvious that I missed something. And Chris humbly just says, I'm actually one of the leadership in Maxwell, one of the VPs. And so I just said, oh my gosh, that's so funny. But he's been so graceful. And we built a really great relationship as well, too, over that time. And, I'm a big believer in leadership as influence and making a difference, adding value. So I just started, texting them and connecting with them just on how I can serve, how I can help. Do you need me to get your dry cleaning? Do you need me to take something out for whatever you need to do? Because to me, going out to help people is really where you can start to build a connection, a relationship with them. And so Chris never did have me do anything. He always said, I'm fine. And he's so gracious. But we built a great friendship. And Chris Robinson is an incredible leader. Yes. You'll be able to find him, all over the world. And so he sent me a message and just said, hey, we'd like to maybe connect about some Maxwell specific stuff. And that's how I got the door to start meeting Chris Godey and Chad Johnson and John Maxwell and all these incredible leaders. And here we are today.
Yeah, because you're an entrepreneur and you ran your own business and leading companies. And I think you do like 100 a year, if I recall. And that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, so we're here to inspire, add value. And anybody who wants to ride this train with us and follow us through this journey, we'd be so excited for you all to be part of this journey. I feel blessed that you came today, Matt, and drove here just for this interview, because we're always trying to help and save lives and do it financially and coach up, health wise. I mean, health and wealth is huge, and mental stability, mind, body, and spirit. I just believe in all those things. And this is just one of the steps to all those amazing habits you start to create, right?
That's right.
So how do people get a hold of you to learn about this high capacity mentorship program with John Maxwell?
Yeah, so there's 2 programs. In fact, there's probably much more than that. So we want to add value to you. The easiest way is just go to our website, exchange.maxwellleadership.com. And that is 3 L's. So just in case you're wondering, exchange.maxwellleadership.com, and just hit the contact us button. That'll all go directly to me, and I can help organize and sort through a conversation, because truthfully, I'd love to get to know you too. I'd love to get to know who you are, what you might be struggling, what you might be facing as a leader, and really make sure that we partner with you on the best possible journey, just like we did together, you and I, Sharice, which Sharice and I had a 2-hour conversation. And I just left our conversation feeling so great about just future and just her potential and where she's going. So I know as listeners, you guys get to hear her all the time, and that's an incredible thing. So just reach out to us, exchange.maxwellleadership.com, and hit the contact us button. That'll go directly to me, and we'll schedule a call.
Fantastic. Well, we talk about holistic financial planning, which we're about to dive into, but it's also holistic in mind, body, and spirit, because there's a lot of channels when you're working on the holistic life and your health and the mind, body, and spirit and the value of all those things. So stay tuned as we talk about holistic planning. And Matt, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you, and we will certainly have you back.
Thank you so much, Sharice.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Coffee Talk podcast. If you have questions or would like to begin the process of building a tailored retirement plan, call Zinnia Wealth at 833-368-3680 or find us online at zinniawealth.com.
Sharice Rivers is an investment advisor representative of Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Sharice Rivers is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Sharice Rivers, NPN Insurance License Number 8718011.